I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Isn't love a union between two people? Or does Eartha fall in love with herself?
I think if you were to think about it in terms of analyzing, yes, I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.
What it do? What it do? Welcome back to another episode of Devine Talks, where I talk about anything that Devine wants me to talk about. So today, because I know it's super late and I do apologize, but your girl been tired. I had to take a little nippy nap because I just been out doing a whole bunch of yard work. So being in that heat, doing a bunch of yard work, you kind of get a little tired, need a little breaky break. But I had to go ahead and do this video because I don't know, like since like the end of May, the beginning of June, and then like even this week, like the weather has just been really, really weird to me. And of course, some people may think that I'm exaggerating or just crazy, but it has to be a little bit of truth into what I'm thinking about, what my mind has been marinating on just for the overall summer, because this month has been a little bit more summery, but especially in the end of June, the beginning of June, the start of May, it just been the end of May, the start of June, it's been real springy, and I'm just like, where's the summer? Like, it's rain, a little teeny wink of sunny, and then it's rain. I'm like, where's all this rain coming from? And I'm just like, yo, every time I cut the grass, it's time to cut the grass. Cut the grass, it's time to cut the grass. Cut the grass, it's time to cut the grass again. I did a whole bunch of grass cutting, whole bunch of weed eating, all this and that and the third, which I'm not really too mad about because I love being out in nature for one. But I just been like, where's the sun? But for the past, I want to say 2 weeks now, we have been getting that sun. If you are from any other state, I am from South Carolina. And South Carolina do be having, rain, of course, having this woo weather, but I also work as well, and I have been like where I work at, I have members who from other states that said that they never even had rain before in years. Like I even today I had a member, she said she's from Arizona, and she was like, she had where she was from, she had rain, and they never get rain, right? Or especially up north, heat wave on 10. And I'm just like, and also they never really experienced that much of a heat wave. So I just been like, well, something gotta be a little bit of truth to what I've been thinking about lately. So let's get into cloud seeding, right? So what exactly is cloud seeding? So how does artificial rain work? Clouds are injected with salts like silver or potassium iodine through air or generators on ground. Then the salt acts as catalyst to combine with droplets in clouds. And then water droplets convert into snowflakes while falling, reaches the melting point, and then it causes the rainfall, right? So why did it begin? So the proof of concept was was first discovered by Vincent J. Schaeffer, Bernard von Gott, and Irving Lagumar in 1946. I just want to pause and say this. I know that, especially in the Black community, they always say, you know, we have ghetto type names, but some of these names are like from other countries, especially the European countries. They be giving complicated, okay? But anyway, we're researching icing on aircraft at the General Electric Company's research laboratory after World War II. By investigating the production of particles of various sizes and their behavior in the atmosphere, they discovered that tiny particles could be used to produce ice. They were able to nucleate ice by introducing small particles in a laboratory-made cloud in a freezer with dry ice to create snow. Von Gott later discovered that silver iodine was an even more effective at generating ice formations, a breakthrough discovery for operational cloud seeding. So when did cloud seeding begin? The first cloud seeding experiment, called Project Cyrus, happened in 1947. A modified B-17 bomber dropped dry ice, solid carbon dioxide into a stratus-cumulus cloud. This experiment proved successful when they witnessed a racetrack form in the cloud deck where the plane had seeded. This was evidence that ice was produced and that cloud physics and precipitation could be altered. So while researching this, my mind was already gravitating to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, when he made this machine where it produced different types of foods, and at one point it was very beneficial to the island, but then all of a sudden if you never watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, it's called the Rooster the Fur, the machine. Then you know, if you watched it, then you know what I mean. But overall, the summary of it, this scientist, he made a machine that produces food because he felt like the food in his island, which is all they sold was sardines. He didn't want that. He wanted to try different foods, and he felt like, you know, once again, the island had a bland variety of food. So producing this machine, it brought on like pancakes, spaghetti, steak dinner, Taco Tuesday, all of these different type of foods. But it ended up being and then not only that, he shot the machine up into the clouds that produce these foods, these different type of foods. And of course, all things good doesn't it's always happen temporarily, because even there was it was one time it had like ice cream, which is kind of ironic because they produce snow like in different parts of United States, especially up in the northern parts of the states. They do produce snow, like especially up in the mountains, they produce artificial snow. So in you know, like art imitates life, art imitates life, life imitates art. So I kind of correlate the two from when with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, they had that ice cream, like ice cream land, I want to say. Like they had different flavors of ice cream and candy and stuff like that. So that's basically how I correlated that when I did my research on cloud seeding. So how is cloud seeding used today? Cloud seeding is currently used to increase precipitation, reduce hail, clear fog, and even potentially influence rainfall patterns, with the most common application being drought management through increased snowfall. It's employed worldwide, including in the US and China, for various purposes. Now, of course, there's always pros and cons to cloud seeding, like just like in Dubai, where they don't receive rainwater at all. So of course this will be beneficial to them, but it could also be catastrophic because they do have a lot of sand, and what can that cause? Major flooding. And these are the pros and cons. So the pros is that it contributes substantially to vegetation, notably for agricultural production, as most farmers in third world regions rely solely on the rain. It provides access to clean drink water. Water is recycled from all around the world and redistributed to the ground. Rain has an important function in removing dust and debris from the air and detoxifying it. But then again, like I state, as a pro, there is a con. So the con is there is the potential of mild to moderate depression because cloudy and gloomy weather might dampen thoughts and feelings. So going back to May, I saw a pinwheel just now, but hopefully y'all are able to hear me and see me and everything like that. But going back to the end of May, the beginning of June, like it was very gloomy. And with me, I walk my dog every day. So sometimes I would have had to, just calculate when I've been able to walk him and when I'm not able to walk him. And then I have to like kind of walk and hopefully I don't get rained on as I'm walking my dog. And that is true. Like when if you're too much in a dark room, you kind of can develop those feelings of depression and feeling low and everything like that. And that's why, especially during the summer months, you love being outside. You feel rejuvenated because that sun is bringing out those not only is the sun beneficial for the skin, the sun is very, it brings in that natural vitamin D, but it also brings in positive thoughts, positive thinking, as is the opposite especially at night. It brings in that gloom, it brings in those saddened thoughts. So once again, the cons: it is excessively acidic. It can seriously damage plants and trees and rocks. Prolonged heavy rains lead to serious floods, placing a great deal in jeopardy. And rain also triggers erosion, which strips away the soil's rich layer. So especially this can be very detrimental to farmers who rely on an equal amount of sun and an equal amount of rain for their crops to grow so they can profit. But sometimes when you have too much sun, it dries out the plants. But if you have too much rain, the rain is basically drowning the plants, where there's too much excessive amount of rain that they're not able to grow properly as well. So let's get into some of these videos and thoughts and opinions that people have had about cloud seeding.
Glaciogenic and hygroscopic. Glaciogenic glacier, right? It relies on freezing liquid in the cloud into heavy enough snowflakes so that they become heavy enough to precipitate. So you'll, with radar or other probes, measure how much water's in the cloud. If you have,
I don't know why is it so low, but hopefully y'all can hear.
Below, you can fly a drone up into it, spray this fairy dust that I told you about, silver iodide. That chemical, its crystal structure is almost identical to ice, so water freezes onto it very favorably, grows into those big heavy snowflakes, then precipitates either as snow or, if it's warm beneath the cloud, as rain.
Okay, so let's...
Two countries have a weather modification program.
Increase in snowfall is, a very significant value add to organizations like hydropower companies.
To do that, pilots target clouds full of moisture and eject small amounts of an inert chemical.
And what's inside of these guys?
It's a silver iodide mixture. The idea is that we'll be above some liquid water, and as it's falling through, it'll turn into snow, so it can fall out of the cloud.
Since the 1946 experiments of Dr. Vincent Schaefer, we have known that some clouds can be modified through seeding to yield additional precipitation.
As soon as you guys are creating clouds out of nowhere, you actually target storm systems.
If there's no clouds in the sky that have any moisture in them, then we can't do anything.
Weather Modification International provided the planes. a team of scientists set out into the Idaho mountains with Doppler radars and state-of-the-art weather stations to record what happens on the ground when planes above are cloud seeding.
And what did you guys find?
The aircraft flies through that, and you can see the ice crystals grow right on the radar, and you can see the snow showers form, and as they pass over the mountain, you can see the snow very visually and conclusively is produced from the cloud seeding aircraft that just flew through that particular cloud and system.
Radar images show how ice crystals formed in the clouds in the exact pattern that weather modifications pilots were flying. The long-awaited scientific proof that cloud seeding was working had finally arrived.
Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine,
running cloud seeding operations in the country. We've got some ground-based cloud seeding equipment right here, and we're going to get to hear all about how it works and see it in action. Let's check it out. Cloud seeding is the most common type of weather modification, and it has many different techniques and applications. Today, it's mostly used to increase rain and snowfall, reduce the size of hail, and reduce fog at airports.
Traditionally, cloud seeding has been done from the air. So airplanes have had racks on them where these same flares are positioned on the airplane, and the airplane flies into the storm. So in order to reduce the cost to the client and reduce our carbon footprint, we've been able to station these on the ground. Now we can do this in places where weather permits.
Behind a barbed wire fence designed to keep away curious cattle, the cloud seeding gear awaits the right kind of weather.
So these are referred to as AHOGs. That stands for Automated High Output Ground Seeding Systems. We've got three primary components of our equipment here. The first is the control module that you see behind me. Then we have our actual cloud seeding flares. The cameras for security. It also helps us observe weather conditions in real time and make sure that all of the equipment is operating correctly during a storm. Inside these canisters are the flares with the seeding agents. The canisters are used as spark arresters, so they prevent sparks from reaching the ground. So if we pull off the spark arrestor, you can see the flare inside. The ignition of the flares are controlled from the control module that's behind us. So the white triangle there is a cell service modem, and then the solar panel keeps us powered. Inside we have a battery and then a control board. So the control board interacts with the software. We're linked or synced with the software in Utah currently, and that allows us to fire or ignite any of the flares from that remote location.
Because of the lack of clouds and proper wind conditions, today is not a good day for cloud seeding at all. But Garrett and his team are going to light a flare for us anyway, so we can show you how it works. There's just one small problem. The battery in the control module died shortly before we arrived, but it's nothing a little jump start can't fix. After a little juice from Garrett's truck, it's time to set off the flare.
The primary seeding agent in this is silver iodide. Silver iodide is a simple compound. It's polar in nature like water, so there's chemical properties that help attract water molecules to silver iodide. It's also structured molecularly similar to ice. So it helps generate or helps spawn the generation of ice buildup, and then that becomes a hailstone or a snowflake that falls here primarily as rain. So one flare like this has billions and billions of potential sites for that water to congregate around. We'll launch them in sequences. We watch the radar to see when bands of the highest concentration of liquid water are passing above us in the clouds, and we try to target those high concentration pockets in the storm systems. We'll launch between 3 and 20 flares for a typical storm. Once the flare is lit, it takes a little bit of time to carry up into the clouds, and once it's up at the proper elevation, it'll take about 20 minutes to instigate the rain or the snow process. So overall, you're probably looking at about 40 to 45 minutes before you're seeing the maximum result. And that's why we're stationed miles away from our target area. So we have very specific targets that drain directly into major water basins, and we time these events to correlate with rain above those intended targets. One of the biggest questions, or most common questions that we receive, relates to the safety of silver iodide. Silver is biologically inert, so it will not interact in a negative fashion with plant or animal life. Iodine is actually a critical building block of a number of hormones in animals, so it is safe as well. In fact, if you look at table salt or baby formula, you'll see iodine in its molecular form as an additive in those commonly consumed substances.
But what about other potential adverse effects? Could cloud seeding affect communities outside the targeted areas?
Sometimes there is a concern about robbing Peter to pay Paul. So are we benefiting California at the expense of Nevada? And the truth is that storm systems, when they move over off the coastline, only about 10% of that moisture is going to fall in the form of precip. And we're looking at increasing that to about 11% because we have about a 10% increase in the natural storm's productivity. So going from 10% to 11% in California has an insignificant impact on the amount of precip that will still be available in Nevada or Utah.
Built into the program are kind of checks to make sure that we don't come across anything negative. When there are high-intensity storms, we won't seed. If the reservoirs are full, we won't seed. If the rivers are flowing a lot, maybe near flood capacity, we won't seed.
We hope that the conditions that exist right now will turn around and that we will not face the severity of droughts that we're facing, particularly this year. But a number of scientific articles are suggesting otherwise. And as we look into the future, we need to again consider conservation first. So the ability for us is to conserve how we use water and the ways that we store the water. And then layer on that efforts like weather modification and cloud seeding to help increase the rainfall that we do receive. It's very important that we take advantage of every opportunity we have to generate water in a sustainable way.
Anybody who's interested in learning more about cloud seeding, I've got links to scientific studies and official reports down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more. If you want to see more What the Future episodes, check out this playlist right here. Hope this video seeded your imagination. Conserve water. See you next time.
This to L2, and then I bring this to 1. And fire. Now look at that. Fire.
Pennsylvania for like, I don't know, 111 consecutive days. And when it first started with our rainy season, it was like, if you haven't heard, it's been raining in Pennsylvania for like, I don't know, 111 consecutive days. And when it first started with our rainy season, it was like 50 degrees and cold. So it was miserable because everywhere you went, you got wet and you were cold. It's horrible. Well, now it's gotten warm out and it's worse. It's a lot worse because it's the humidity is ungodly, but not just humidity. It's like we've had nothing but rain, so I feel like everything's like rotting and growing mushrooms. I don't know. The air smells like dog shit. Like, you know when you hit the bridges going into like Ocean City and you can smell that like hot fish water? Like that's what it smells like. It smells like hot fish water, and we're landlocked. It should not smell like hot fish water, but I just feel like the entire state of Pennsylvania is growing mold and fungus, and not just the humidity. It's like we've had nothing but rain, so I feel like everything's like rotting and growing mushrooms. I don't know. The air smells like dog shit. Like, you know when you hit the bridges going into like Ocean City and you can smell that like hot fish water? Like that's what it smells like. It smells like hot fish water, and we're landlocked. It should not smell like hot fish water, but I just feel like the entire state of Pennsylvania is growing mold and fungus and rotting right now.
My apologies, y'all.
From the boss's emails, and then you make it to the weekend, and this is what we get? You really think it's a coincidence at this point? seeding Saturday.
Let me run that back.
Wondering why it was nice all week long when you were working away, typing away, answering the boss's emails? And then you make it to the weekend and this is what we get? You really think it's a coincidence at this point?
And then let me do this last one for y'all.
Well, I'm gonna love you like a sinner. I'm gonna love you like a saint. I'm gonna love you when you are. I'm gonna love you when you ain't.
Play that one more time for y'all so y'all can see how in real time how it happened.
Well, I'm gonna love you like a sinner. I'm gonna love you like a saint. I'm gonna love you when you are. I'm gonna love you when you ain't.
So let's run it back. So overall, you get the gist of how I've been feeling lately when it comes to this weather. Like I state, I'm not saying that it's just a alert type of situation, but it does grind your gears and makes you wonder, especially like these natural disasters, like how natural are there? Because even though like when doing my research, some scientists would say like, oh, it's not really being, cloud seeding is not having a huge effect on the natural disasters that have been occurring. But I really do beg to differ, and I really feel like it's kind of like sugarcoating so people are not too much alarm about what's really going on with the manipulation of weather that has been happening not only in America but across the world. So it does raise an eyebrow to a lot that has been going on when it comes to the weather. Like even in the winter, this winter season, it was hot. It was hot during the winter season. And what's crazy was even though in the winter season it was hot, during the springtime it was really cold. Like April, I didn't expect it to be so cold, but it was cold. Like I said, I didn't expect it to be so cold. And then going back to May was like, the end of May was like super rainy, and I was very shocked because I'm like, usually around May 1, and then not only that, it was still cool in May. So I was just like, so when is the summer coming? And then when the summer came, all that, especially in South Carolina, all that I experienced was, here where I'm at is rain, and I'm like, rain, go away, because I'm trying to have a hot girl summer. And what I mean by hot girl summer, I'm just trying to enjoy the sun. If y'all trying to do whatever else with the meaning of hot girl summer, I'm just trying to do my little country thing and be outside and enjoy all that I can when it comes to the nature. Because I see the bunnies and everything out now. So I'm not really complaining now, because I feel like this is the season of summer. But I was very suspicious back in the beginning of June and the end of May when it was very much raining. I'm just like, something ain't going on right in that potato salad, man. Who mixing it up in a potato salad? Like, And speaking of, even though this off the radar, why them boy got mayonnaise slices? That's for the summer podcast. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and also I do want to let you know that everything is alleged. Viewer discretion is advised. These is all my opinions, my thoughts on how I feel about cloud seeding. So if you feel like anything is not factual, take it up to the research that I made. That I found online. I did not put my opinions into the podcast. I mean, I did put my opinions in the podcast, but my research that my PowerPoint, that's what I'm trying to say, that's all came from the facts of the Googles and articles and books that I read. So I just wanted to briefly come on here to discuss cloud seeding and what I just been feeling on my mind and how I've been thinking. And I just want to say, y'all enjoy y'all holiday because it is now the 4th of July. And however you choose to celebrate it, even if you're not celebrating the whole diaspora and the whole meaning of 4th of July, just overall, just celebrate your freedom of yourself and just being grateful for being here. And just use that energy, use that independent energy of being independent, especially as a woman, as myself, who is an independent, flawlessly beautiful woman. If you're a woman on this podcast listening, you are beautiful, you are loved, especially to the men, you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are loved, and overall to my men and women and children who may be watching this podcast, you are respected. But that is the end of this segment today. Please, once again, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all on the next episode of Devine Talks. Mwah.
I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Isn't love a union between two people? Or does Eartha fall in love with herself?
I think if you were to think about it in terms of analyzing, yes, I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.